Have you ever looked at her and felt the shift, like her body was close, but her heart had already left? She doesn't tell you outright, she gets quieter, colder, her eyes don't light up the same, and suddenly you're not her safe place anymore. You're just an option. But here's the truth most men never hear. A woman realizes she's losing you not when you argue, chase, or beg, but when you stop explaining your worth. This video is a mirror, not a manual. We'll uncover the silent emotional triggers that make her finally feel your absence when you stop abandoning yourself for her approval. If you're ready to reclaim your value and let her feel what she took for granted, press play. Have you ever laid beside her after everything and wondered if she was really with you or just with someone? That moment after intimacy can be quiet, even sacred, but for many men it becomes a space of confusion because she's suddenly distant or reflective or unreadable. You gave your body, maybe even your heart, and now you're left with silence. So what is she thinking? She might not be thinking about you at all, not in the way you expect. For many women, intimacy isn't always about bonding, it's about clarity. It's a mirror. And in that mirror, she sees how deeply you were there or how much you were performing, chasing, hiding. Was your touch connected or disconnected? Did your energy feel present or transactional? This is where men often misunderstand the power of the moment. You might believe that because you shared something physical, it automatically means emotional closeness. But for her, the emotional part doesn't come from the act itself. It comes from how she feels during and after the act. And that's something she reads intuitively, deeply, and sometimes painfully. Can you be in that moment without needing anything back? Can you hold her without proving something? Can you make her feel safe, not just desired? These are the questions she may never ask out loud, but her heart is asking them in silence. And here's the truth. Her thoughts afterward often have less to do with whether you are enough and more to do with whether she felt seen, safe, and significant in your presence. If she didn't, she won't say it right away, but you'll feel her withdrawal like a soft goodbye. But this doesn't have to break you. If anything, it can wake you up. Intimacy isn't just something you give, it's something you build. And that starts with emotional awareness, not performance. So instead of wondering what she's thinking, start asking what you were feeling. Were you fully there? Did you honor yourself in that moment too? Healing begins when you stop chasing her thoughts and start honoring your own truth. That's where real connection begins, with you choosing yourself first. Have you ever held her afterward only to feel her slipping further away, not physically but emotionally? It's a confusing space for many men. You just shared something so raw, so intimate, yet instead of closeness, there's a gap, a silence, maybe even coldness. And suddenly you start asking yourself, did I do something wrong? But what if it's not about right or wrong? What if it's about what's left unspoken? After intimacy, many women retreat inward, not out of rejection, but reflection. She starts evaluating everything, how she felt, what your energy told her, whether the connection was mutual or one-sided. She's wondering if you really see her or if you were simply using the moment to validate yourself. That reflection can be painful, not just for her, but for you too. This is why emotional depth matters. It's not enough to show up in the act. You have to show up with presence, with curiosity, with a willingness to hold space for both your experiences. When you're disconnected from your own feelings, she feels that too. She might not say it, but she senses when you're hiding behind touch or ego or performance. What would change if you stopped seeking her reaction and started noticing your own emotional truth? Did you feel safe being vulnerable? Did you feel pressure to perform, to prove, to please? Or did you feel like you could breathe? Real intimacy doesn't start in the body. It starts in your capacity to be seen and to see. If she senses you're emotionally absent, she'll pull back, not to punish you, but to protect herself. And when she does, that's not your cue to chase her. It's your call to return to you. The power is always in reclaiming your emotional integrity. You don't need to guess what she's thinking. Instead, learn to hold your own truth gently. Learn to give without abandoning yourself. When you become emotionally safe for yourself, you become emotionally powerful in any connection. Choosing yourself isn't walking away from love, it's learning how to meet it fully. That's the path to healing. That's the path to peace. Why does she pull away right after you give her everything? Your time, your body, your attention? That question stings because it touches a deep part of you. You opened yourself, you gave fully, and yet now she seems distracted, distant, maybe even cold. It makes you question your worth. But what if I told you it's not about what you gave? It's about what energy it came from. After intimacy, women often tune into a frequency you might not be aware of. They feel the unspoken, your neediness, your insecurity, your unhealed wounds. Were you giving from wholeness or from hoping she'll fix something inside you? This is where your power lies, not in chasing her validation, but in understanding your own intentions. Did you enter that space to connect or to be saved from your own loneliness? Real connection is about presence, not performance. You don't need to overgive or overprove. You don't need to read her mind or decode her silence. You need to stay rooted in your truth, even when things feel uncertain, especially then. Think of this. Have you ever felt pressure to be enough for her, and in doing so lost the sense of who you really are? When you overextend, you abandon yourself. And when you abandon yourself, she senses it, even if she can't name it. True masculinity is calm, not controlling. It's grounded, not grasping. When you learn to be okay with her distance, her silence, her emotional process, you show her something rare. A man who doesn't panic when he's not in control. A man who knows his value even in the quiet. That's when she feels you the most. Not when you chase, but when you hold your center. So ask yourself, am I trying to earn love, or am I ready to embody it? The shift begins with you. You don't need her reaction to validate your worth. You don't need her closeness to confirm your power. You only need to return to the one person who's always been waiting for you. You. That's not giving up on love. That's choosing the kind that heals. Why does it feel like the more vulnerable you get with her, the more she seems to lose interest? That quiet ache you carry, the one that whispers, maybe I was too much, isn't about weakness. It's about giving your truth to someone who didn't know what to do with it. But your vulnerability isn't the problem. Your self-abandonment is. Many men, especially after intimacy, feel a deep emotional openness. It's natural. You connected, you let your guard down, you felt something real. But in that rawness, some of you forget your power. You start wondering, did I say too much? Did I come off as needy? And suddenly you shrink. You question your own truth. You begin managing her perception of you instead of standing firm in your authentic expression. Ask yourself this. Are you sharing your truth from confidence or from the hope that it will make her stay? There's a powerful difference between emotional expression and emotional dependence. One honors your wholeness, the other seeks to be completed. And women feel that deeply. They feel the difference between a man who shares his heart because he owns it and a man who shares because he fears losing her. You don't need to fear your death, but you do need to protect your peace. Don't pour every part of you into someone just because the moment feels intimate. Intimacy is not permission to abandon yourself. Real strength is saying, "This is who I am," and being okay whether she leans in or pulls away. That level of emotional maturity creates respect. And with respect comes real connection. And that's what a relationship is. So here's the truth. The woman who is meant for you won't punish your openness. She'll feel safe in it. But until then, don't hand your soul to someone just because your body felt close. Reclaim your emotional space. Let your vulnerability come from strength, not survival. Choose yourself, not because you're giving up on love, but because you're done negotiating your worth. That's how you heal. That's how you grow. That's how she realizes you were never losing her. She was losing a man who finally remembered his power. Why does it feel like the more effort you put in, the more she pulls away after intimacy? You gave your time, your attention, your vulnerability. You stayed up late to talk. You listened. You cared. And somewhere deep down, you thought that meant something lasting. But now, you're the one left wondering what changed. She's distant, cold, different. And you're left questioning yourself again. But what if it's not about how much you gave, but why you gave it? Too often, men give themselves in pieces after intimacy, hoping that effort will equal attachment. But love isn't earned through overextending. It's not about performing worthiness. It's about being rooted in your own value, whether or not she sees it. Ask yourself, were you giving from fullness or from fear? From a place of shared connection or from the silent hope that being more available would make her stay? Here's the truth. Sometimes after intimacy, a woman doesn't pull away because you did something wrong, but because now she sees your heart. And in that moment, she either respects it or she retreats from it. But that is her choice, not your fault, not your burden. You don't need to chase clarity where silence has already answered you. You don't need to shrink just because someone else's comfort zone can't hold your depth. Instead of asking, why did she change? Ask, why did I abandon myself to keep her close? That's good. You are not here to prove you're good enough to stay. You are here to remember that you've always been enough, with or without her validation. Choosing yourself doesn't mean closing your heart. It means protecting it from being drained by people who don't know how to hold it. So next time you feel her energy shift, don't panic. Don't chase. Breathe. Lean back. Reconnect with the man who knows that love should never cost your dignity. The moment you stop fighting for someone who's unsure about you is the moment you make space for someone who never will be. That's not loss. That's self-respect. That's freedom. That's healing.